a rip. What's up, boat gang? Welcome back to the shop. Two boats getting worked on today. We've got the UL-19 that just did 71 miles an hour, P-limited boat, and did that with the help of the Mad Lizard turn fin. It's a much less aggressive fin than the Mojo fin, and obviously the 10-shock P-limited magical motor. Essentially a 3660 can with about 4074, maybe even a little more as far as power. So making tons of amps, tons of wattage, making big power. Last time out with the Decepticon, had a little bit of an issue with my left side being about 15 degrees hotter on the motor than the right side. The right side was about 102 degrees versus 115. And so basically, your boy here did a big oopsie when I did these motor plates, because basically the way I aligned them was I drilled a hole and I ran the 1/4-inch stuffing tube straight into them. And obviously, so it had a curve to it. And that's actually not the way you want to do it. You need to align it with one end having the motor and the other end at the stinger. And so now I just redid the right side. That's why the right side's running cool. And I'm redoing the left. And so basically, here's the motor plate mount. I custom cut this myself. You can see all the epoxy around it that I had to break out, obviously. The holes are drilled in it. You know, I dremeled these out for lightness just to save weight. So now that I've got this out of the boat, right, the way that I'm going to align it is I'm going to mount the motor. I'm going to put the motor in here. And then the motor will have, so this is basically the coupler goes into this is like a sleeve, right? So this brass tubing, if I can get this thing out, this brass tubing comes in different sizes. And so whenever you need to do like an alignment, you'll basically make these little sleeves. So it's a 3/16 to like a, 7/32 or whatever. But you're making these sleeves, right? So this can go into the collet. This ensures that this is straight. And then you've got your stuffing tube. This is the old tube that I burnt out, right? And it'll go in and it aligns it. And then on the other side, you'll have your stinger. And then I have a shim. This is a shim for the stinger, right? So this is the same idea. It goes into the stinger this way, 3/16 and I think 7/32, and that slides into a 1/4-inch, right? So then this gets shimmed. Of course, it won't let me do it on camera. This gets shimmed, and then this goes into the other end, right? And so then you just continue bending your 1/4-inch stuffing tube until everything lines up, tack everything into place, and that's how you get perfect alignment. And so, yeah, we're learning as we go, you guys. I thought I had a good way to do it, but the problem is that with that curve, it was putting the motor mount at a weird angle. And so that little bit of steam we saw last time was grease. It was the cable heating up. I pulled out the right side stuffing tube, cable, and the right side was still covered in grease. The left side was almost dry, which tells me that we were just burning off the grease and getting a little bit of binding. And so, yep, so just chipping away. Basically, I took a plastic mallet, beat the living daylights out of it to get it out. You can see the epoxy work went all the way up into the deck and all the way around. I had a nice bead. So I'm going to sand all this off with the Dremel. Again, a cordless Dremel or even corded gets used probably more than any other tool in my shop. Using a flap disc sanding wheel, I'll buzz it all off. And I got to do the same in the boat. So in the boat, I can use this little mirror here. It's like mechanics, it's for car stuff, but to get in there, right, so I can actually see what I'm doing. It's got a light on it, super cool. All my batteries, the best way to keep batteries safe is to not have them fully charged for any longer than they need to be. So get yourselves an ISDT discharger or something similar. I run parallel leads off of it. And so if I come home and I haven't ran packs, I'm discharging immediately, right? I don't want to store, I mean, literally, and it's not this dramatic, but every hour that your batteries sit at 100% charged, no different than a Tesla or anything else, they're degrading. It's not a ton, right? But you can imagine they don't like being at 100%. So you either run them or just start discharging them right away. Do not store them overnight. Do not even, I mean, even if it's 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, it's just no need. So, these batteries are like 3 to 5 years old. These are a newer set, but, my packs will last for years, honestly. I've had really good luck, and I think that's a big part of it, as well as not over-discharging them. Also very big. So that's the update on these two boats. This boat, I'd like to prop it down. You guys saw it hit 71. I'm kind of out of prop. I could prop up just for bragging rights, I guess, on 4S. Don't really care. I'll probably prop it down to about 63, 65 miles an hour. And full trigger, full trigger, full trigger. And that's the goal with this boat, right? I think 63 to 65 with the Mad Lizard fin. And that's kind of where it's going to sit. I sharpened the rudder. Definitely one of my most fun boats. I think this one is probably going to take the lead as far as being the fastest lap times. So last time out, I had a really good time with this boat. That was the best it's ever ran. And so I ran home and took the hammer to it and beat it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm pumped now. I'm excited for this thing. These castles are working overtime. I don't know why I'm losing my voice a little bit, you guys, but these castles are working overtime. These cheapo Proboat motors, these are out of the Impulse. They're killing it as well. You saw 102 degrees on this one after a full run. And the other side only got to 115 because we're binding up in the stuffing tube. So that's it for these two. I'm going to finish that up. Epoxy work. You guys know I use G-Flex on everything, on motor mounts, I should say. So this thing was in there insanely well. It gave me so much confidence that I probably don't need to run rear motor rings for support because of how good these things were in there. And prep is so important. Good G-Flex. I like to run the nice beads and clean it up. And I should show you guys how many Q-tips I used up just to do this side and get it, clean and perfect and looking nice. And I don't know. I like to take some pride in my epoxy work just because, right? I want to show you guys data logs from that really quick. I'll let you guys go. Boat gang, I hope you guys are doing well. Let me get the laptop and show you that. All right, so real quick, got the data logs. Just got this. This is 0.5 millimeter thick carbon fiber. I'm going to be using this to make some shims for my Geico strut, just to kind of make something fit. Amazon will have like every size. So this is 0.5 millimeter. They've got millimeter. This stuff has a little bit of flex in it. So for blueprinting, if you wanted to put it on your ride pads, you can also use G10. Data log. So this is off of the 1816. So you see we're at 305. We're mostly looking down at the current at the peak amps. So you see we're at 305 here at kind of the beginning of the pull, right up here. 305. It didn't really like this prop. You can see it kind of peaks at 304, 305, and then towards the end of the pull, we're down to like 220. So really, it's mostly just a large kind of spike, and then it drops down. But I also noticed that it didn't like that prop. It wasn't particularly happy with that prop. Let's see if we can shoot. All right, I'm trying to get over to here it is. Here's the 1814 3-blade. So here we are with that prop. 1814, if you notice the ride attitude on the 3-blade was much, much better. And so peak current with that prop was about 261. We hit 38,000 RPM, 4,000 watts, 114 degrees. But you can see, right, so I had two props, both hit the exact same speed, both hit the 71. But on the 2-blade 1816, the boat was not happy. It was kicking and spitting. The 1814 was insanely smooth. So it was about a 40 amp difference between those two props to do the same speed. So, and that's a big difference because that tells me that the The 1816, I probably couldn't swing for laps, whereas this one, here we hit 270, 280. So you see really what it is right at the start of the pull, right when I first nail it, we spike at about 270, maybe 280. And then you can see by the end of the pull, after like a couple seconds, we're down to 238. So that 1814 prop actually was working really well on this boat. And at 71 miles an hour, I could use that prop to run laps if I wanted to. But you could see under extreme, under that 1816, the boat was making close to 5,000 watts. So 5,000 watts, which is more than it's really recommended for it. And you can see that, yeah, this was the lighter pull. Anyway, so you guys get the idea. So long story short, this boat made over 5,000 watts with the 1816 that it didn't really like. And that's like 4074 motor kind of power. Obviously, that's not really recommended for long-term use on this motor. I try and stick relatively to within the motor specs, which I think they say is around 4,000 watts. So that's, really where you should be on your lap setups. But hey, for a fun speed run, why not? The motor handled it no problem. Nothing got hot. And honestly, probably an 1815 or 1816 3-blade. So the same as I have, but with more pitch. I have no doubt this boat would be mid-70s, maybe even a little more on 4S P Limited setup. So no interest in doing that. I'm not going to go buy a bunch more props, but it worked. And so, yeah, that's where we're at on the data log. Hope you guys are doing great. Subscribe, like, comment, whatever you guys can do is appreciated. Boat gang, I'll see you on the next one. Later, guys.